but brilliant.
So you're from Texas, so
Yes.
did you reference anyone that you knew to become a redneck? And being from Canada, how did you become a redneck? Did you emulate anybody that...
Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We are not, it's not a redneck-free country over there in Canada. We definitely have our own unique brand of hillbillies and rednecks. They just sound a little different, but same goals, you know. They want to fish, they want to hunt, they want to drive their trucks, they want to drink beer, and just enjoy, you know, life. Like these, like good old boys, like we were saying. I think is a pretty universal thing. You know, you can call them hillbillies, rednecks, whatever. But yeah, I looked at a few people that I grew up with, and I grew up in some pretty rural areas, and you know, it was like horses in my backyard, stuff like that. So yeah, it wasn't that much of a reach. But
Cool.
to do the accent, Alan and I were both watching a lot of these what was it called? Juncture or what?
Yeah, some YouTube videos, some West Virginia kids they basically rode around on their riding lawnmowers and
Doing like deeds and...
Yeah, they had scripts that they had written and they were doing. We watched them and listened to their accents, and we got it down and sort of went through the lines, and then I said, you know, I know what's going to happen here is I'm going to get 3-4 days into this shoot, and my little West Virginia that gets a little bit more Southern is going to go away, and I'm just going to be Texan. And so might as well embrace it now.
Yeah.
And
So, well, whatever you do, I'm going to try to do.
Yeah. So
Because we can't have two different accents. We're lifelong friends, so.
So that's what we did, and it's, you know, how people talk that I know. I have relatives. I don't have any one person that it was. I mean, kind of me in some ways, except at least the accent. When I lived in Texas, at least when I was in college, my first college I ever went to was in East Texas, rural Texas, and that's how you talked.
Yeah, it's a really funny accent to do because it's tricky in the beginning, and it's not like anything that I grew up around. You know, you hear it all the time, but once it gets into your bones, I had a hard time not speaking with a drawl for a couple hours after I get off work. I would call my wife and be like, "Hey, how's it going? What are you doing?" And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how to talk anymore." Yeah. But it's an easy way to talk, man. Mm-hmm. It's like it truly is a very lazy way to talk. Just everything just sounded out.
Yeah.
In addition to your other great work, you guys have some serious geek cred going in, obviously, with Firefly Dollhouse, Reaper, Planet of the Apes. I imagine you guys must get a lot of, you know, genre twist scripts have come across your desk. What really spoke to you about this script in particular?
The humor. It just, I mean, like straight up and down, that's all it was for me. I was like, this is really funny. And I mean, it was a fresh idea. It was a very new, and again, it was like, why hasn't somebody done this already? I can't believe this hasn't been done. But just there was a really unique voice behind it from Eli and Morgan. I was like, oh man, this is really, really funny. And if someone could do this well, it could be really good. And I was like, why don't I take part in that too?
Yeah.
You know?
I also, all of that he just said. Plus,
but you say it better now.
I'll say something else though. I also like the it's the mistaken identity or the misunderstanding on such a grand scale as far as the stakes being so high. It's a farce, but people are dying, and it's not a farce. A farce is very specific structure, but there are farcical elements within it. You know, the scene with the sheriff, where you're like, okay, let me explain. Okay, here I've got to explain this. That's very much something that you could see in a farcical situation of don't go in there. Look, there's nothing in here. You know, that sort of keeping a lot of balls in the air, and there's a lot of that in this, and I think that's fun.
Yeah,
and physical. Yeah, no, that's okay.
I was going to ask you about the prejudge and the kind of misunderstanding and the people kind of, you know, label you because of the appearance or accent or whatever. Yeah. So do you guys have a kind of this kind of experience? Someone misjudge you or misunderstand? Or
I get that all the time.
How is that uncomfortable?
I get the assumption that I'm a pothead all the time, or that I'm like a frat boy, you know, like a just beer guzzling frat boy, and I'm neither. I don't smoke pot, and I never went to college, So can't be a frat boy. But yeah, I deal with that. I get that thing a lot where people expect that I'm going to be a lot maybe stupider or I don't know. I think I surprise people sometimes, because I look like I should behave a different way. But yeah, I really come up against it and out there in the real world, man. It's tough for me.
Huh. Yeah, a lot of people. I got nothing. No, a lot of people think I would smell differently than I do.
Yeah, you're just a stinky guy.
No, it's just more of I was thinking more of like a lavender,
Oh, right.
and you're more of
You're rocking like a fresh sage kind of.
like a sage.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so you're a totally comedic actor, so you're from, I thought, comedy, some kind of troupe or whatever, but you're actually Juilliard educated.
Oh, yes,
serious
yeah.
actor. That is kind of misunderstandings. Do you have any, like, a casting director or coming script, all like a comedy?
Sure.
And never came serious? Thing?
Sure, I think every actor has that. Usually you're getting scripts that look like the last thing you did. Everybody wants you to play, oh, I know who to cast in
You
this.
just
The
did
guy
that
who
so well.
Just did that thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've been misunderstood as an English person. That was my favorite. That's happened a couple of times because
Yeah.
I played English a couple of different times in A Knight's Tale and then in Death at a Funeral. But I had a casting director one time. I did this audition and we were talking afterwards and she's like, okay, well, do you have your visa? I was like, no, what? Is this shooting in Canada? I don't understand. How do we need this? She's like, aren't you English? Like, do I sound English? I thought you were putting on I'm not. No, I'm not. That was really. I think that's such that's a generous misunderstanding. Where, they think I'm actually English.
You have Vampire Hunters coming up. Can you talk about that?
It's a movie based on the book, on the novel Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. We shot it in New Orleans this past summer. I think they were thinking of it as a summer movie for this next summer coming out. I play Stephen Douglas, Abraham Lincoln's political rival, and initially engaged to his wife, Mary Todd. It's Buzz. Buzz.
I eat pussy.
That's what Buzz.
That's
what he does.
Buzz Wallach.
Buzz Wallach
For a
says.
living? That's not a bad way to make a living.
No, that's why he's smiling. Yeah, and it's a really great movie. A lot of good people in it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays my fiance and then becomes Mary Todd, or she is Mary Todd, becomes his wife. Yeah, I can't really. I don't really know what to say about it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Timur, and his last name I never learned because it's a very long Russian name, but he's awesome. The guy who did the director who did Night Watch and did Day Watch.
I gotta see, man. I heard those are
Dude,
great.
you're fortunate that you haven't seen it because you get to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just one of those things. Rufus Sewell is in it, where you just give over to the director. And he's like,
Yeah.
here's the thing I think is going to be, we'll do this. And you go, all right, whatever. Because when I watched Night Watch, you couldn't imagine. It's like, whose head did this come out of? And it's that guy. It's a lot of humor with action, with gore and suspense all mashed up in one.
So, can you talk a little bit about like? I mean, was it like fun? How fun and not fun was to shoot the gory scenes? Because
For us?
I mean, the director was talking about the scene that I was thinking about too. The guy stuck in the truck and everything.
Yeah.
It was probably really messy. I mean, did you enjoy doing it, or it was just kind of annoying? Because I know that the weather was complicated too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just fake blood and mud. I don't know.
Yeah, we were always covered in fake blood and mud. It was something when you would come to work in the day, all clean and ready to, you'd sit down and go, all right, let's do it again. And
Yeah.
they would put blood all over you. You had to match it, so they're looking at pictures of you the other day. So no matter how, you were used to in real life, you get dirty and then you get clean and then you start over again. You get dirty and they go, okay, we're going back to that dirty place, and then you add onto that dirt, and then it keeps going, and then, at the end of a month, you're really nasty.
Yeah. In the beginning, it's that thing where it's like, you sort of resist it, they're putting it on your face and you're kind of like, oh God. But then like halfway through, I don't know how to explain it except for you almost look forward to it, because once you're just in there and you're getting the blood all over your face, it's go time, you just dive in and get covered in it. But that was at the end of the night. That always sucked, man. Going back on my pillow looked like someone had been murdered on it. It was just like blood and schmutz everywhere. It was pretty bad.
And I was interacting with the props, for example, in that scene, the legs of the guy.
Oh yeah, the torso.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
It's pretty fun. It's funny when you look at those elements when you're filming them. Like they had, at one point there was a head. They'd made like a bust of the character who shoots himself with a gun, and they had this shot where they were going to film through the hole in his head, and it just didn't look good. It looked a little fake. But it's just sitting there. This is like the head with a giant bloody hole in the middle of it.
That looks like that guy over there that's walking around, and you're like,
yeah, and
there's
it's like
face
the
with a hole in it.
torso and the blood and the guts, and they look fairly real. They look really authentic, and you get so desensitized to it and used to it, and just hanging around with these like body parts all day and blood and guts. And you forget, you like realize when you see the final product, you're like, oh my God, that's gross, man. That was gross. But I was there every day hanging out with that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's weird, yeah.
Yeah, you do get desensitized to it. You don't. I can look now at still photos, and it looks really just gruesome.
Yeah.
But not during.
Talk about how was experience hanging upside down. So
Hanging upside down was.
It's your favorite.
How many hours?
It was a long time, because you had to shoot both sides of it, and then there was another scene after once he shows up to cut me down. I don't remember how many hours. It was a few. Because we were moving and doing a lot of stuff. I remember being in a lot of pain. It gave me headaches. It was unexpectedly difficult. I stayed up there for a while because we didn't have time to bring me down, and to put me back up took time. And so it was easier just to tie me off and leave me there. And so I'd stay there as long as possible. And I just had headaches, and my face was swollen for a few days afterwards. And I couldn't think straight. I kept leaving. I left. I had just bought this guitar, this expensive guitar that I was very proud of and loved playing, and left it. I got back to. I had this regimen. I'd come back to the hotel, get a glass of wine, and go up to my room, drink my wine, and fall asleep. And I got my glass of wine, fell asleep, went back to work the next day, going through the day, and I'm like, my guitar. Where did that happen? And it was at the hotel. I'd left it in the bar, just right there, and luckily somebody had picked it up. But
Okay.
I mean, a very expensive instrument that I just walked away from. It's like my favorite thing on the earth. It was ugly. Yeah.
It was exhausting.
It was exhausting. The track that the characters go through, they start off clean-faced and ready to go, and then all this stuff starts to happen. Since we shot basically in order, our experience was almost the same. As our characters were degraded, we sort of became degraded as well. The more, we were in the cold and wet and long hours and hanging upside down or running through the woods and mud puddles and
it's
such.
the cold and wet that really gets to you. Like the blood and all that stuff's okay, but the cold and wet thing, especially when it's like nighttime and you just want to go home and go to bed, but you're just being re-wet. They come in and they spray your neck with like a cold bottle of water like on your face. And you just want to punch them in the face. You just want to kill somebody, but it's your job. You just gotta be cold and wet for a couple more hours, and then you get to go home.
Yeah.
Did